Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And today I'm going to begin my a series where I'm going to show my entire Goodwin Champion set. And I'm going to start, it's a 50 card set, but I'm going to do kind of what my friend at Vintage Wonderland does with his Venezuelan cards and kind of show 4 or 5 at a time. And just kind of take a good look at each one and not rush through it. I've shown these before in a video, probably, God, it was over a year ago. But it was just I showed them all real quick and kind of been graded a couple of them over the last couple years, not too many. But I want to show the entire set, and it is the #1 ranked set on the PSA registry. And the back of the cards has the checklist. So what I'm going to do is, there's different ways to collect these cards. Some people just collect like the baseball players. As you can see, there's 8 baseball players on the list. Or they collect it by different sports, where you can just collect, like the bicyclists or the tennis players or the boxers, which they are called pugilists. So on the PSA registry, there's a few different registries. For Goodwin, there's the entire set, which is what I have, and there's and I have the #1 set, or had the #1 set. I retired it because, as you know, I sold off a few because I upgraded to SGC, so I actually have a better set than I had on the PSA registry right now. But the other part of the registry is the baseball. So there are, of course, better, higher graded on the baseball front, because the big dollar cards are the baseball cards, and you have some big collectors there that have, the Ansons in a 7 or even an 8. There's a couple of those. So those are just unaffordable in my range. So my baseball players are mid-grade, but the entire set, as you'll see, I have a lot of high grade and highest graded for some of the other players. So beginning with the first one on the set, first one is Andrews. Well, before we get to Andrews and the first one on that set, I did share with you guys my Goodwin Champions album. And I talked about this coupon, but I actually didn't show the coupon. I want to show it right now. This is the Old Judge coupon, return coupon. And this coupon came in, and this is in a 5. This is the highest graded example. And this particular coupon, you can see, it is from, back in 1888. And it talks about what you can get. And it says 50 of our certificates and secure the Champion album. And that's the album that I showed, the Champion album. Then there's a flower album, a sports album, and other albums there. And this, again, it says that it'll be ready July 18 of 1889. And the back says virtually the same thing. And this particular coupon is a 20 of these. So it says that again, when you return the certificates, you put your information, and you could pick either a cabinet photograph of any baseball players. That's why you see the Old Judge cabinets. This is what you use to get the Old Judge cabinet cards. So you would send in 20 of these to get an Old Judge cabinet card, or 50 of these to get the Champion album, which is the album that I showed you earlier. So let's take a look at the Champions. It's Andrews, Anson, Brothers, and Carruthers are the first 4 guys in the set. Those are the first ones I'm going to show. And the first one is Andrews. And this is the Andrews, Ed Andrews, played for Philadelphia, center fielder. And wasn't one of the best players out there, but these guys all were considered stars of the day. And this one, as you see, is in an X5, and most of mine are mid-grade as far as my baseball players. And then when you get to the other ones, you'll see they're a lot higher grade versions of the other cards. So take a good look at the Andrews card. And you know, as you can see, some of these cards were not cut exactly right. So this isn't actually an oversized card, because you can see it's got a lot on the top, but the bottom border is the right size. So this is kind of considered an oversize. Again, the backs are all the same, so I'm not going to bother showing you all the backs of the cards. It just says the whole checklist on each one of them, which I showed through on this. I'm using that as my checklist card. So this is Ed Andrews. I'll give you a slow roll on the Ed Andrews card. Take a good look at that. 1888 Goodwin Champion. And these are just cards that you don't see very often, especially in a condition where it's like this, where it's you know, no back damage and stuff like that. So that's the first one that I'm going to share with you today. The second one on the list is really the biggest name in the entire set. And again, the baseball players are done by alphabetical order. So the next one is the Cap Anson. And I've got that Cap Anson in a 4. So we'll take a good look at the Cap Anson. And of course, that is the biggest card in the set. And really, some people consider it this century, the 19th century, they consider this to be the Grail card. And I think that as far as if you look back at what is the most recognizable card from that era, I would say that this Cap Anson would win, in my opinion. I think it's the nicest card, and again, the full color pictures on those just make it stand out. And this is my Cap Anson in a 4. I'm going to slow roll it for you so you can take a good look at the colors and just the beautiful card of Cap Anson in Chicago. This is actually, he played for the Chicago White Stockings, which became the White Sox. So this card's very nicely centered for a card from 1888. And that's the second card I'm sharing, and it's the Cap Anson. So moving on to the third card I'm going to share today. And so Andrews, Anson, and the next one is another Hall of Famer, and that's Dan Brothers. Now Dan Brothers, you know, he was one of the big hitters back in the day. He was a power hitter, if you can think about that. And then he was a big hitter for Detroit. So it was the Detroit Wolverines back in the day. But there's my Dan Brothers in a 5. Just a beautiful card. You know, the artwork on these cards are just incredible. You see the old hat, the old style. It's the old Judge Gypsy Queen cigarettes. That's where it came in. And just some beautiful cards. I mean, to me, this is the most beautiful set, you know, of the N cards. The N cards are 19th century. That's why they're N. This is N162. And that one is just a beautifully centered example of the Dan Brothers card, first base for the Detroit Wolverines. In the back, they're all about the same. They all are the same. So those are the first 3 I want to share, and I want to share one more. So the next one coming up is, so we got A, B, and C. C is Carruthers. And this is the Bob Carruthers. And Bob Carruthers was a pitcher for Brooklyn. And this Carruthers is in a 5. So again, it's an 1888 card. This one's a little dirty compared to the other ones, but hey, this was in packs of cigarettes. So these are very tough to come by. And again, the back is pretty clean for the era. You know, at least it's not all missing some paper, and a lot of the issues for this year are missing paper. So that is the Bob Carruthers. I'll give you another close look at Bob Carruthers. Brooklyn from the 1888 Goodwin Champions set in a 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing these, and I'm going to do another video sharing the rest of the baseball players, which is 4 more guys to go. So I'll share those, and then from there I'll start sharing some of the other players on the list. And so you got coming up here, we got Dunlop, Glasscock, and Keefe and Kelly, and then I'll show the bicyclists, the billiards, and go on from there and show the football player and the rest of the guys, the jockeys, the tennis, all the guys there. So this is the first 4 of my 1888 Goodwin Champions. And just tell you a little bit more, you know, my collection really started with building sets. And through building sets, you know, I was able to build most of the sets that I wanted from the 50s and the 60s. And I went back all the way back to this era, and I thought this was the most beautiful cards from that era, and I thought I'd try to pick up some of those. And Kelly was my favorite card. I'll show that on the next video. And I just fell in love with these cards and started collecting these. And you know, since I had almost completed my mantle run, and that was, and again, my other thing was building sets and doing my mantle run, you know, I couldn't pick up the 52 mantle. I just didn't have the money back then. So slowly I started picking up some of these, and you know, still thought about my 52 mantle, and I thought about it for many, many years. And you know, for 20 years I was working on this set. And then finally, you know, I had an opportunity about 4 or 5 years ago to find my mantle. And you know, as Greg Midlife talked about that on his video last time, I sold off a lot of my 50s and 60s, and pretty much most of mine, and don't regret it, because I found and I upgraded to the mantle. So I'm going to go ahead and show my mantle again. I've shown it many, many, many times, but I just can't stop looking at that thing. So I'll give you guys a real close-up look at, see it without the glare, at my 1952 mantle. You know what? Let's just get a good close-up of it. It's just a beautiful card. And so for me, you know, I took my time and just ended up finding this beauty. And this is the, you know, I've shared it before, I told the story before. This is the East Pennsylvania mystery find mantle. And it was a mystery find, yeah, because it was found in an attic. And I won't go through the whole story, but anyway, this card came directly from the family of the man who owned this card. And once he passed away, it was the mystery find mantle. I was able to buy it, and it's just a beauty. It's just a gorgeous mantle. I'm just gonna do a slow roll on that and give you a really good look at it. I mean, it's centered, which you don't find these mantles centered. You just don't. And some of the stuff you see, the scuffs are actually on the thing. They're not. The only thing that is on the card is that little dot, which makes it authentic. But there's some scratches on the on this slab. But we'll go ahead and give you a good look. It virtually is like a mint mantle. Give you a good slow roll at that mantle. And I mean, it's the best mantle I've ever been able to see and afford, because it's a minimum size, just slightly cut short by the factory, which allowed me to purchase it. So there it is, my 1952 mantle. I thought I'd just go ahead and just show one more time. Oh, the back. Let's show the back. Let's show the back of it. They put it like in a little baggie in here. You see it's like in a little baggie, but you can take a good look at that mantle. It's just like it came out of the pack. So I had to share it again. I pulled these things out of my safe deposit box, and this guy's right next to it. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have this for a little bit again and share it again. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. I will go ahead and continue to this series for my the entire set of the Goodwin Champion. So sorry this video is long, but I had some beautiful cards to share. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.